Hello, and thanks for joining us on the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Gen Con and the gaming capital of the world, this is The Established Facts. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Established Facts. This is a, quote-unquote episode, not necessarily a full episode, really just a convention review, like we've done in the past for Indie PopCon and Gen Con on a little bit lighter scale. So I guess we could probably call this a little bit of a bonus episode. This is our Fear the Con 8 review show.
You know what? It's an after the fact.
It is an after the fact. It is very much after the fact. So, we'll call this the Fear the Con 8 after the fact show. We've got 4 people in the van on the way back to Indianapolis from St. Louis. So, of course, this is Big Don. And we'll start with our driver. That way she can be less distracted. And then we'll go around and tell you who is in the van and ready to talk about how much they really enjoyed this convention. So,
I am Avital, and we are driving in my parents' van. Woo! Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Go parents!
Yay!
And this is Josh, sitting in the passenger seat, being the navigator.
Thanks, Josh.
And I'm Bonnie, Big Don's sexy wife, snuggling up with him in the back seat, as it should be.
There you go.
Yes, Adam. Okay. Bonnie, Don's wife.
That's right. The one that you met last year at Fear the Con.
You're going to mention the other body in the car?
Oh.
Well, yeah. So, Josh Prime, my brother, and fellow Established Facts podcaster, is sleeping in the back seat like a big fat wimp. Couldn't handle the intensity of the con, so he decided he was going to take a nap on the way back to Indianapolis.
That's so terrible.
It sure is.
Probably won't.
He's my brother. He's my brother. I can say what I want.
That's fair.
So, for those of you who have never gone to a gaming convention or convention in general with the Established Facts, something that we like to do, that I encourage all of you to start doing with your own small gaming group, or large gaming group, I guess, gaming group in general, is just kind of talk about the things that you really enjoyed, or maybe the things that you enjoyed a little bit less than others. We like to do a review after every con, because we feel like what you enjoy the most about the conventions is different every year. So we we're going to be asking 4 questions, and then we'll kind of open it up to any general discussion about the convention itself. So, the first question is, what was your favorite con moment? The second question was, what is your least favorite con moment? The third question is, what was your favorite con game? And then the fourth question is, as sadly as it is, this is, at least for now, there will not be a Fear the Con 9 next year. We don't know yet what the future holds for the Fear the Con community, but we are excited to see new things come about. Maybe a couple smaller mini cons with people getting together, similar to Microconsum up in Adam Gottfried's area of town, or area of the nation, I should say. Sorry.
Which I believe they do one. I don't think it's what it's called, but I believe they do something similar in North Carolina with Sergeant Dan.
Yeah. So maybe something like that springs forth from the ashes of Fear the Con 8. We'll see. We had a really good time in general. This is a really fun con. If you've never been to Fear the Con, We're sorry you missed your opportunity this year. Hopefully there will be something come about from it so that you can experience it. It's just to give you kind of a quick overview, it's a smaller 2-day convention. You get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 100 to 150 people in the Maryland Heights Community Center down in Maryland Heights, Missouri, which is just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, about a 4.5 hour drive from Indianapolis, Indiana. And it was started by the Fear the Boot community that is kind of the fan base of the Fear the Boot podcast out of St. Louis. And it's just a really low-key, very chill hangout opportunity. They have they run 6 4-hour slots of gaming on a Friday and a Saturday, usually at the beginning of the summer, end of the spring seasons. I know several years in a row they did it in May. The last couple years they've done it in June. And so that is kind of Fear the Con in a nutshell. Normally they do a really cool appreciation night on the Thursday night. For everybody who comes in early, they do a big dinner and things like that called the Worldwide Wing Night. This year was the first year that they did a crowdfunding for the entire convention. They needed to raise $8,000 for the con, and then an additional $2,000 stretch goal for the Worldwide Wing Night. And they exceeded that goal, so they exceeded $10,000 in crowdfunding support, which was really great because they were able to pay all the bills, as they said. They were able to pay all the bills beforehand, so there was no question as to whether or not they were going to have the money to be able to take care of it, which definitely takes the stress off of them for running a really, in my opinion, really fun, really successful convention. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into our 4 questions. So, we will start with Avital. Avital, what was your favorite convention moment for your weekend?
These are always like the worst things for me because I have a hard time picking favorites, and there's a lot of good things happening, but I think I mean, honestly, is it favorite con moment?
Favorite con moment?
It's pretty much like the moments that I get to spend with my friends. I mean, honestly, there's specific games we're getting into. My favorite game later. But, I mean, being able to travel with my friends and, heck, rooming with my friends. The people that I met last year, hang out with them. The interactions that I get to have with people, those are my favorite moments of convention.
Joshy.
I'm going to have to give it to Live at the Drury this year.
Yeah.
The Kick to the Dice Bags episode, Live at the Drury, that we've done the last 4 years really has matured, which is saying something for such an immature podcast. That was actually meant as a compliment, not necessarily a joke. That's where Kick to the Dice Bags, that's what their niche is. And this year we probably had, 14 people?
14.
Something like that, yeah. 14
people in the room discussing the importance of personality in character. Oh, yes, Avital?
You can finish then.
Okay. So, for me, every year Keith and I have a conversation that's like, so we're going to do Live at the Drury again? I'm like, yes. He goes, well, I'm flying in. Can you bring your gear? Yes, I'll bring my gear because we drive. It's a lot easier for us to bring our gear, throw it in the back of the van, and we're good to go. But this year we show up, and he's like, every time I do this, it breaks, and I'm showing him different things. And the point I make about that is it's neat to have the collaboration, not only during the podcast, but even before we started. The preparation, the excitement that comes around it, and getting together and discussing a topic that is really important in role-playing. And yes, there were some lewd moments, cursing, whatever it may be, but for the most part, it's a very intelligent conversation with a lot of people involved. So a shout out to everyone that made it to Live at the Drury this year. And it was a very memorable night to be stuffed with wings get a good laugh in, maybe play a game or two, and then go sit down and record with all your other fellow podcasters and non-podcasters. We had a lot of people in there that were not normally behind the mics, but they were able to put in quite a bit of good information.
Okay, so you've reminded me, I think that probably one of my favorite con moments was when Keith let me establish a fact during the recording.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Your Derek is in another castle.
Your Derek is in another castle. That is right.
Bonnie?
Okay, well, I don't know. It's hard. Like, the lines between favorite game and favorite moment really bleed. But, I was really apprehensive going into a 10-person Fiasco game. Even though I really loved playing with the idea of playing with Zach, and I had a lot of friends involved. And of course, it's fun to play that sort of thing with people you don't know too, because you're establishing that relationship right away. So it doesn't matter if you know that person or not. In the game, you have a relationship. But I think that was honestly like the highlight of my weekend. Like it was so seriously fun. Somehow we kept the game within the time frame of the slot, which is really amazing.
And we started late, and we still got done in 3 hours.
And I credit all the credit goes to Zach for that, because he was seriously prepared for that game. He made the I don't know what you call it, the scenario. Like he made it himself, and he had everything all ready for you to write down your relationships, and had this kind of quick way of getting us through it. And we even got the aftermath in, and it all made sense. Like even with 10 people, it was awesome, and it's seriously fun.
Definitely, for those that are interested, look up Zach Lorton on RPGNet, and there are a couple of other sites that he's linking to, where he's in some contests. He's in some contests for his Fiasco scenarios, and he also has a Fiasco supplement called the Sevens that allows for the addition of up to like 10 people, I think is what he said. So if you're looking to play a giant Fiasco game, or a mega Fiasco as he called it, make sure you look up his information. I'll do the best I can to find some links to put in the show notes. I know he's posted on Feather Boots forums and the Facebook page, just getting it out there. So definitely look him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's also a DJ.
He is a DJ out there.
Does he live in
He is a DJ and worship pastor in Alton, Illinois.
Okay, yeah, so.
All right, so I would have to say that my favorite con moment was literally the first moment I had at the Demaree when we got to, we got to St. Louis early because I had the idea to kind of treat ourselves to a fun tourist opportunity, because since we live in Indianapolis, we don't get a chance to come out to St. Louis very often, and I myself have never gotten a chance to really see, metropolitan St. Louis. So we decided to get here early and go to the St. Louis Zoo, which if you have an opportunity to, it is well worth it. It costs $15 to park your car, and then it's free to get into the zoo. There's a lot of great things to see there. The city itself is a very cool, architecturally cool city. There's a lot of really neat older monuments and things like that. But what really made me feel like I was at my home away from home was when I walked into the Demaree, and this being only my second year, but I walked into the Demaree and I saw Keith Bird from Kicked in the Dice Bags, and it was like seeing, a cousin that you have missed for the last year. It was a really cool community, family experience. I won't even say that it was like it was really neat to see another podcaster. I mean, it was genuinely, I literally set my bags down at the front door, and I walked over and I gave him the biggest hug, because it was just really genuinely awesome to see him. And kind of throughout the rest of the weekend, I kept relating to a lot of the people that I had gotten a chance to play games with last year, that it was just really wonderful to have this experience of seeing people who are not necessarily related to you by blood, but that treat you like you are family. And the community that the Fear the Con and the Fear the Boot fans in general have created that surround this con, it's no wonder why so many of us are so passionate about continuing to have stuff like this go on. Not only in St. Louis, where we all come together. I mean, we literally have people come from other countries that have listened to. I think we had at least 3 or 4 people from Canada this year. I know they've had people from Australia come and Germany come and things like that. And so it's really kind of cool to see how that extended family, if you will, of friends that you meet they really are the genuine article, and it just continues to prove how awesome gaming communities can really be when you kind of let your doors be open to new experiences. And I'll tell you, that was probably the hardest thing walking out of Granite City. Not Granite City. What's the place? Yeah, is it Granite City? Is that what that place is called? Yeah, Granite City Brewery. That's right. For brunch on Sunday morning, and walking out from having hugged 20 different people, and just really realizing that hey, I'm going to miss these guys until I see them again, and genuinely feeling that way. That was probably the coolest experience for me at the con this year, just feeling like I was kind of back at home, even though I wasn't home. So go ahead.
Before we get into our least favorite part of the con, I want to definitely put in right now how awesome it was to be a part of Fear the Charity's Dungeon Crawl event.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I know it'll probably come up again later, but the big thing I wanted to put out here is that Fear the Charity, the Established Facts, Kick to the Dice Bags, Fear the Boot, the entire Booter community raised $3,260 for the Little Red Door Agency and the Ferguson Public Library.
Yeah.
Which is, I want to say, $700 more than last year.
$700 to $800 more than last year.
And it's so amazing. It always is every time we talk about it. To know that this community is willing to come together, not only raise $10,000 to make sure the convention happens, but to also take a third of that and put it towards charities and helping better man, no matter what platform they may be coming from.
Any of the food that's left over, we take to a local, usually either a local shelter or a local.
The St. Louis Center for Women's Hope, I think, is what they said it was.
Like foundations that are going to be able to use that kind of stuff, because I would say we probably have a good couple $100 worth of fruit that's just donated to us to eat throughout the weekend, and then by the time we get done with the con, there's still half of that left. And we could just as easily either divvy it up or just throw it out. But being able to turn around and give back again to the community of Maryland Heights and St. Louis and stuff, it's just really cool. Like, you get to see the genuine heart of the people that are involved with the con. Especially when it's this small. We love Gen Con. We love Gen Con. We love Indie Pop Con. But each different convention brings a different environment. And when you have a smaller con like this, where there's 100 to 150 people that show up, it's really cool to be able to actually have the time to interact with people and get to know people. And a lot of times you end up playing multiple games with the same players. So that's how we met Zach Lorton. I think all of us ended up playing at least 1 to 2 games with Zach Lorton last year, and this year when he showed up, it was like seeing a brother. Like, hey, it's sweet, man. Like, let's hang out and play some more games together. So, all right. So, moving forward, question number 2: what was your least favorite moment of the con? And the reason I word it that way is because I don't like the word hate. I mean, we can feel strongly about something that we did not like, and I think that's kind of what I'm asking is, but overall, I don't want the experience of the con to be tarnished by, this one thing. So, what was your least favorite moment of the convention?
Next one.
Let's see. Let's start with Josh this time.
Okay. Well, this one's going to come back to self-induced, combination-induced situation, but Derek is really good, for the most part, of planning everything that goes down with Fear the Charity. And the dungeon, everything in the dungeon went well. All kinds of money and stupid curses and items were bought and used to mess with us or help us or whatever. But one of the things he wanted to do was he wanted to project 2 GoPro video streams onto a projector that would switch back and forth. And I did not get involved as much as I would have normally in this situation, because Derek said he got it and we would all be good. By the time we got to hook everything up, nothing worked. we did manage to get everything audio recorded, except for maybe the first hour of the dungeon, just because the computer locked up. But technical difficulties of any kind always drive me nuts. I mean, I'm a producer of a podcast, and I have a master's degree in music technology, and yet I couldn't get 2 GoPros to show on a projector at Fear the Con. So it was a bit frustrating, but it's probably one of those things where if I had the option of just acknowledge or refusing to acknowledge that moment ever happened, I probably would have. But yeah, that's probably what's going to stick out to me.
All right, Bonnie.
So, unfortunately for me, the majority of the weekend, I've been feeling really ill. And I would have to say that put a serious damper on the good time that I had. I mean, I had a great time in all the games that I played. After slot 4, Saturday morning, I pretty much, had it. I had to go back to the hotel and just rest, because I just couldn't continue on at that moment. So I was really feeling down about that, because I was like, there's only 2 slots and then it's over. It's over, and I'm gonna miss it. But I had to go lay down. So that was a bummer. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's always, I can definitely say it's always kind of a bummer when something that you can't control like that, whether it be some GoPros that don't want to work the right way, or you just don't feel well, and it kind of dampers the mood. It's definitely not fun. My least favorite moment, I think, my least favorite moment for this weekend was probably before the weekend ever really came. We had a lot of struggles with getting just kind of our final details together with the hotel and things like that. And a lot of that stuff can be controlled by us in our planning and things like that. We thought we were going to be able to do one thing when it came to the hotel, and that fell through. And it wasn't really anybody's fault necessarily. It always stinks when you're trying to prep early and you end up getting everything done the day of, because you still feel that anxiety in making sure everything is taken care of, all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. In combination with that, I had some difficulties with my work and their vacation policy and things like that. So I ended up taking a couple personal days, which is not anything negative as far as that goes. But it's always tough when you have a plan and then that plan falls through, and so you have to make another plan to try and get the things done that you need to get done. So I would have to say that my least favorite moment was just our lack of preparation prior to Wednesday night, really. So, Avital.
My least favorite moment is definitely similar to Bonnie's. Well, let's see. I volunteered. Derek needed somebody to run the charity table during slots 5 and 6 to keep taking money for raffle tickets and for throwing things at the people in the dungeon, whether it be potions or monsters or whatever like that. I volunteered to do that. because I didn't have anything in slot 6, and my slot 5 game I wasn't sure about anyway, so so I volunteered to do that, and that was fine and everything. But as we were hitting, it was slot 6 maybe 2 hours in, and they finished the charity dungeon really early.
Almost 2 hours early.
Well,
Almost
we
2 hours
legitimately.
early?
I encourage all players to do this. We legitimately bribed our GM to let us convert the main villain of the campaign to good. And he actually became one of our PCs and helped us clean out the rest of the dungeon. But we ended up paying him, what, $80?
$80.
$80
For the
to
charity.
convert for the charity. Yeah,
That's pretty brilliant.
yeah. I'm just saying, like it was Adam Gottfried and Beth Roper and Lance Heinzelman. They threw in together and they literally handed Derek $80 for charity to take over the Dark Lord of Denny's, to convert him to the Light Lord of Denny's and help us finish killing the last of the monsters in the dungeon. So it was really funny, and I think Derek had a good time with it and stuff. But
Well, and I think the side of that there was Derek could tell that 6 hours had hit. We were all kind of like,
we were getting drained.
it was the last
energy,
slot of the con.
energy-wise, we were beat from having a really good time all weekend. But
Yep.
anyway, go ahead, Avital. Sorry.
No, I mean, that needed to be brought up anyways. That's a good
Transitions
moment.
into it, yeah.
Yeah. But, alright, so I was running the table, and taking the money. I was making announcements over the microphone, like, hey,
Being real extroverted.
right. And while I may kind of be on the line between introvert and extrovert, oh, there's motorcycles.
That's all right.
I mean, I do tend to be a little more introverted and just, not getting a lot of sleep because it's a con, you're staying up late, and just putting myself out there. And also a little bit of some issues with stomach. Like, they, thank God, finished the dungeon early, and I'm just like, I'm like crashing, like the exhaustion just hit me, like it was just like piano on my head. So I'm like, Josh, Demaree,
Yep.
obviously.
What's
He's like,
wrong?
you okay? And I'm just like, I'm just exhausted. I just can't. And he's like, you want me to take you back to the hotel? I'm like, yes.
So we
yeah.
ran out of there like bats out of hell and scared 5 or 6, 12 people.
Yeah,
Right,
we thought
everybody's like,
something
is
was
she
wrong.
okay?
Yeah, we thought something was wrong.
Yeah, and so then I napped for a couple hours. I felt a lot better after that. Had a Tums or Pepsi AC or something, and then was able to just hang out, chill with friends for a couple hours. And then, so it wasn't just like, oh, I just felt terrible, and then that was the end of my con. Like, yeah. So that was my least favorite moment, was just being like, oh, I'm like dead now. So.
All right, so this is actually one of my favorite parts about kind of our review stuff, especially when it comes to gaming conventions. What was, and we'll start with Bonnie on this, what was your favorite game? And be specific. So if you played like 2 or 3 different Fiasco games or a couple Zombicide games throughout the weekend, be specific as to which game of that was your favorite. So what was your favorite game during the weekend of Fear the Con 8? Bonnie.
So definitely the Fiasco game, the 10-player Fiasco game that Zach ran with the reunion class of 1994 was pretty awesome. I mean, I already kind of talked about it, but I also want to bring up that I had a really great time because I got to play Quags for the first time, and I got to play the new D&D Adventures League. And so I'm really glad that I tried those games. Like, I did not play one game this weekend that I did not have fun in. I think, if anything, I feel bad for those GMs who had to deal with me just not feeling well and not being my normal, like, really into role-playing self. Like, I wasn't giving them a lot to work with, and I know that can be frustrating for a GM, but I seriously had a great time with those. But just that game, I think the reason why I liked it so much more was just because my friends were all with me, and they really helped recharge me into, you know, being out there and being that character and getting into it, even when I'm not feeling well. But it was awesome.
All right. I'm going to have to say that my favorite game for the weekend, which is actually kind of tough because I had two of them that I played tons of games this weekend. Derek's Pathfinder game in slots 5 and 6 for the charity stuff was a lot of fun. The characters that I played were hilarious. The interactions with Adam and Beth and Josh Prime and Josh Demaree and Lance and I, we kept the table rolling in laughter pretty much the entire 6 hours. At one point, Keith Bird actually paid for us to speak in really weird accents for an hour. That was the hardest thing about that game. But I would have to say probably my favorite game for the weekend was Zach Lorton's 10-player reunion class 1994 Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High. That game was so much fun.
In Effingham, Illinois. Sorry. Effingham.
Effingham, sorry. Right next to Springfield. Effingham. It was
Effingham.
It was just
the Effingham Beavers.
There were that's right.
The Hairy Beavers.
The Hairy Beavers.
Senior high black beavers.
Hairy Beavers.
Hairy Beavers.
Black.
No.
The Hairy Black Beavers.
The Hairy Black Beavers. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It was just completely obscene, whatever it was. But we had 10 players, several of them that had never played Fiasco, and it worked. It was so much fun. Yes. We had, Avital, Lance, Josh, Bonnie, Josh Prime, and myself. So 6 people on the Established Facts were involved in that game. Josh Prime. Oh, Josh Prime wasn't in it. Okay, 5. Sorry, I apologize. So half of the crew was Established Facts podcasters. So that was so much fun. There were a ton of gamers that we got a chance to interact with after that game, and play some other games with them as well during the weekend. But definitely a really good time. It was the second slot of the day on Friday, so slot 2, and it was just a blast. It was just fun, you know. That's definitely my favorite game for the weekend. So Avital, how about you?
We definitely need to tell Zach to listen to this episode.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Because we're all like, Zach, we love you. No, I was lucky enough that my first 2 games on Friday were run by Zach. And geez, like, they were both so much fun. Obviously, the Mega Fiasco game. Okay, I was playing the, popular girl, and just sort of, the things that I had to do, Zach was just like, you made me, as a person, hate your character so much.
He was awesome.
And that's kind of cool because, Linda Devon. Yeah, that's not, I don't like being mean. You know, I'm really, really don't like being mean, but just, you know.
The antagonist.
Yeah,
of
kind of
story.
role-playing that out. It actually worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
But, I don't know which one is quite my favorite, but we've talked about the Mega Fiasco game a lot, so I'm going to shout out to my first game of the day. Zach ran a game in the Reese's system, which just required some D6s. It was pretty simple. I had never played in it before. But it was...
Did you say the Reese's system?
R-I-S-U-S.
Okay.
Reese's, I think is how he pronounced it.
I thought she said Reese's.
Reese's.
Cup, yeah,
yes, that would sounds great. But
yep, right.
It was mascots and spokespeople as like heroes.
Nice.
So we had Chester the Cheetah, the Pillsbury Doughboy, Colonel Sanders, which was Grant Woodward from Saving the Game.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he was great. Oh my gosh. And Mayhem from Allstate.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yep. And I was the Priceline negotiator.
Priceline negotiator.
So honestly, there's a lot of Zach had a lot of people we could pick from. Like there was Mr. Clean and some other ones. But I just picked something that I knew I could role play.
You knew you could role play William Shatner?
Who doesn't know how to role play William Shatner? So that was actually pretty fun, and I got to give him Kung Fu as a skill. So
Nice.
like we fought Ronald McDonald, we fought oh my gosh, diabetes.
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford Brimley, Flo, Progressive, who like was carried away by the Lunesta butterfly, and then our final bad guy was Bill Crosby, and I guess the one we actually really had to fight was the Burger King, the creepy, who got unmasked and turned out to have like Cthulhu face under the mask.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the guy that ran the theme park.
And no. And I totally like two-hand karate chop to the back of his head to knock him out. I got out of my chair and like William Shatner karate chop to the back of the head. It was really great. So that was really a lot of fun. And I think Zach did a great job. And he was just like, he's like, all right, here's your sheets and this, and I have. If you want to write with this, he's like, if you need water, if you need a snack. He was so well prepared, and he had his laptop with like speakers, and in the Mega Fiasco game too. And he was like playing sound effects and music during fight scenes and everything, and it really added a lot to the whole experience. I know in the Mega Fiasco game, we had timed scenes, and when we had 30 seconds left, it played
Dun dun dun.
which so often was just perfect timing for what was happening in the scene.
Yes.
So it was really a lot of fun playing with Zach. So awesome, Zach. I would totally game with you again.
Joshy, I believe that makes you the last one for your favorite game.
Yeah. So, as what tends to happen with these post-con events, there's a lot of praise that goes out to the different people we were playing with, and I know Zach. We've known Zach since last year. I had an absolute blast playing in the Mega Fiasco game. But I actually have two games that stand out in particular this weekend.
Snap.
I'm going to choose one.
All right.
I have one, but I want to point out both. During slot 1, and then what would ultimately be the overnight after day 2, we played 2 different Zombicide games.
Yes.
And
The first Zombicide game was my other choice.
yes.
So.
Don ran the Zombicide prison outbreak scenario where we had to break out of the prison and collect 5 objective tokens and get back. But Don and I were the only ones at the table who had ever played the game. So we had the entire slot to play what was supposed to be a 2.5-hour game while teaching 4 people how to play the game. And
It was tons of fun.
it was a blast. We've played Zombicide quite a few times now, and after this weekend, it makes me want to play it more.
Yeah.
Because when you sit down and you got people that can really pick up on it and can understand the strategy and really take care of the situation, it can be a very dangerous game. I have a few pictures on Facebook of it. We had somewhere in the range of like 35 different zombies parked outside.
Yeah, there was at one time
Wow.
we had if you've ever played Zombicide and you understand how the experience works for like walkers, fatties, and abominations, we had approximately 36 experience points worth of zombies in front of one door waiting for us to come out.
because we spent, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 rounds looking for pieces to make a Molotov cocktail. Due to poor shuffling, whatever it was. But even with the poor shuffling, we managed to collect all the objective tokens right as the slot was ending. So we called it a win. We were really close to just getting back into the prison, which was the final objective. And that went really well. And then Nathan, who was in the first game, came back and he played with 3 other people. Don Bonnie,
last night.
Mitch and Lance sat down. We played last night's Zombicide game, which was a lot of fun. And we only had to teach like 3 people to play that time
instead of 4.
And it was a 90-minute game, so it took about 2 hours to play, and it went really well. But as much fun as those Zombicide games were, I have to give my favorite game to Adam Godfrey in his Asthma Penguin Buffalo game in slot 3.
What was it?
It was called Asthma Penguin Buffalo. Don't worry, I'll explain.
Asthma Penguin Buffalo.
He, on Thursday night, live at the Demaree, we were talking about personalities and characters, and he informs us that his entire slot 3 game is no rules. He doesn't have a rule system. He doesn't have a story. He's going to let the players pretty much control all of it by giving us a questionnaire and choosing what we were going to be. So this crackpot team of dinosaur mercenaries was made up of a alligator-looking dinosaur. I don't remember all of the names, but some of them stand out pretty easily to me. Beth Roper was playing a velociraptor. Martian Bob was playing a Tronodon, the ones from Jurassic Park that have the spread out like ears and sprayed stuff or whatever. Highly intelligent. Was that it? I don't know. I could be completely. Maybe I'm the wrong one. All I know is he was 3 foot tall and spent most of the game with a musket sniping down graycoats. Jenny Dixon, the lime-wielding ninja, was playing an Apatosaurus. For those who know of Brontosaurus, so she was a vegetarian or herbivore, whatever. And then there was another gentleman there. I can't remember his name. I can't remember what dinosaur he was, but he was about 6 foot tall and was apparently a Scientologist.
The dinosaur was?
Yes, the dinosaur was.
Okay.
Because we were intelligent dinosaur mercenaries.
No, I understand.
So, but because he kept saying yes to all these things, I was like, well, somebody's got to be the big brute. I'll be the T-Rex. And then I started thinking, they have big head, small arms, but they're intelligent. That's not going to be very helpful. Long and short of it resulted in me being Godzilla. And not only was I Godzilla, I turned out to be the voice of reason in the game. And our game ended with a TLC fight between Gamera and Godzilla, which, you know what Gamera is? Gamera is the other kaiju monster that was, friend to kids, the good guy, but they weren't owned by the same company. So they never fought, they never had any of those things. But because the little 3 foot dinosaur shot the child that summoned Gamera, he started trying to kill my brothers. So we got to fight. Derek, I forgot to mention Derek. Derek was a Stegosaurus who believed he was born, that he was actually a pterodactyl born in the body of a Stegosaurus, and our steampunk father gave him the surgery to become a pterodactyl. So he was a transdactyl.
Wow!
Okay, it was a very strange game. But because it ended with a TLC match that I speared Gamera, blew my breath weapon down his throat, and then turned around and got hit by a Stone Cold Stunner from Mothra. That was how the game ended. So only in a con can a game like that result. It was definitely a very adult-oriented, no rules, whatever. But to see, Adam told us flat out that he was there for us to cause a reaction to him. If we cause a reaction, we got a Benny that can be used to make things happen. And we played with a D12. That was our only die. That was our only stat. It was a lot of fun. And though I enjoyed Mega Fiasco and truly enjoyed Zombicide, I will never forget that final scene in Asthma Penguin Buffalo. asthma penguin came from a special needs kid that Adam used to teach, who had a humidifier that was shaped like a penguin, and he called it his asthma penguin.
Aww.
So, and he used to add a buffalo because he thought it'd be funny.
All right. So we talked about our favorite and our least favorite moments. We talked about our favorite game. In the intro, we talked a little bit about how this is the last scheduled Fear the Con. That doesn't mean that it's going away forever, but that does mean that they're at least taking a year off. I am quite sure that something will come of that absence. So, as our last question, and I'll go ahead and start. What would you like to see come of what was Fear the Con 8? So I'm going to say, right off the bat, no matter what it takes, I will schedule time off every year, even if it's to drive out to St. Louis or fly somewhere, potentially, depending on where and how much, to be able to, again, get a lot of that same first stepping off the bus feeling when you see people that you have missed for, an extended amount of time. I love hanging out with Keith Bird. I love hanging out with Adam Gottfried, Beth Roper. Saturday morning, I did the podcaster, blogger, kind of open forum with Dan Rappinger. That was tons of fun. Being able to actually sit at a table with him and discuss some pretty cool points with like 13 or 14 other people that were in all, a couple of them were bloggers, a couple of them were authors looking for advice, and then there was tons of podcasters. But just having an excuse outside of it just being where all of our, where our friends live who are part of the Fear the Boot community, having an excuse to come out here and to see them all at one time. Because the thing is, there are so many, like Sergeant Dan and like Grant and Peter, those guys who don't live in the St. Louis area, and they have to either fly in or drive in from a fairly large distance to be able to just hang out for 2 days and then go home on Sunday, So I definitely I want something to come about that is going to kind of fill that gap. I've really fallen in love with this type of a convention and the experiences that I've gotten a chance to have at this kind of a convention. I'd like to see maybe a mini-con or something like that come about where we're all together. We'll just get rooms at the Demaree and hang out at the Demaree the whole weekend or whatever, Whatever it takes to be able to get back out there and see these guys. That's the kind of stuff that I would love to see come from it. So, Avital.
Yeah, that is kind of my same thought. Honestly, I have a feeling that, eventually there will be an official Fear the Con again. But in the interim, I sincerely hope that there will be, an unofficial, the podcasting community. What do you call it?
The Fear the Boot non-network network of shows?
Yes. And unofficial, official Fear the Boot non-network of shows con. Probably in the St. Louis area, since it is relatively central for, it's 4 hours for us.
It's a good central location for the majority of the people involved in the community.
Yep. Yeah, but, even though I may not be the most outgoing person if I don't know you already, I still have met people and made friends, and I want to see those people and hang out with them, Keith and Adam and Zach, everybody. I do want there to be something happening, even if it's super unofficial. everybody picks a weekend and we stay at the Demaree and like get the conference rooms and game.
Right.
That is okay.
Well, I think for me, I want to see two things. Number one, I want to see all the hosts of Fear the Boot go on a camping trip or something and just take a break next year. Like, legitimately enjoy the break. They have been doing this for the last 8 years. They've done it from the ground up themselves. And I think it would be advantageous of them to, as a group, do as little as possible and enjoy it while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Though I stand behind what I think Don said, what you said, I also think that there's an opportunity for even like a Google Hangout / Roll20.net combination of events where they can go online and do a virtual tabletop game where guys within the community can get online with their Skype or Google Hangout or whatever and play some of these games, roll some dice, have a good time just to catch up. You know, as podcasters, we get the opportunity to talk with each other and possibly meet up and do interviews and do guest hosting spots, and it's great to do, but the gamers that are not podcasters don't always get those opportunities.
Right.
So it wouldn't require any food. Google Hangouts is free. Roll20.net offers a free option. They also offer a relatively inexpensive option. There are many virtual tabletops out there, but Roll20, because they have a free option, is why I mention them. And I think it's something that you very easily could get together and play a few more games, even on an online environment. It doesn't have to be annual. It can be done once a quarter. It could be just a small get-together. The RPG Podcasters group on Google Plus does something very similar to this, and I think that the Fear the Boot community could maybe benefit from something like that if they were interested.
Actually, what I was surprised to find is that many of the people who come to Fear the Con don't come to Gen Con. And I don't know what this nonsense is about.
Amen,
but I
sister.
think that this is a good opportunity for people who want to come and enjoy a con to come to the gaming capital of the world.
Oh my God, we got
Hell yeah!
And enjoy Gen Con. If you've never been, you have not lived. Okay? No, it's not like Fear the Con. It's big. But let me tell you,
it's intimidating.
But if you know the right people.
Yes, if you
are the right people.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. This will be our 12th year going.
Yeah,
our 12th Gen Con. Okay, we know what we're talking about. We know how to help you.
We know how to optimize the fun for a weekend where it can be a daunting task to do so.
And I mean, from the airfare to the hotel stay to the what to do when you're here and where to go eat and what to do after hours and all that stuff. I mean, we can help you. And I mean, the established facts, you know, we want to see you guys come and enjoy Gen Con, but we feel like this would be a really great year to do that because many of the excuses that we hear that you're not coming is that you would rather go to Fear the Con. Well, guess what? There's not going to be a Fear the Con. So this would be a good time to just pack up all your
Time to
stuff.
pony up.
Sorry.
Time to pony up.
And come, do the thing.
So, kind of expounding a little bit on what Bonnie is saying, the fact is, Gen Con is a gaming convention, like Fear the Con is a gaming convention. And though there is a huge size difference. I mean, you're talking 150 people versus 60,000 people. There's a huge size difference, and it can be daunting to